What is up, everybody? It is your boy, Pigskin Pete. Happy Tuesday to everybody, especially my Canadians out there, eh? That's right, welcome to part 4 of the Pigskin Pete commissioned rants. For those of you who are new here, don't worry, you'll figure out what's going on here in just a second. But every single week on Friday nights at 10 p.m., I do a live call-in show where people call in, we talk about football, we talk about all kinds of stuff on there. But anyway, for the past few weeks, I've been giving the viewers and the donators to the channel an opportunity to give me ideas to stand here in my living room and rant about. I've done several of these videos already, some of them more ridiculous than others. But anyway, to make a long story short, this past Friday night, there was sort of a bidding war going on. Well, what won out was one that I thought was extremely funny, and I was looking forward to making this rant video. The subject for today, if you haven't figured it out already, is Canada, That's right, Canada. Now, that's a pretty broad subject. It's a pretty big country, but it's a pretty broad subject. But nonetheless, there's plenty of material. This could be a 2-part series if I really wanted to make it one, but we're just going to do a part 1 series today, see how that goes. So if you're Canadian, look, it might be a couple of minutes for you. I'm not going to apologize for it. I just hope you have a sense of humor, all right? That's all I can say. Canada, what is Canada? Well, Canada, it's a country, but what it really is the red-headed stepchild of the United States, right? I mean, we have to protect Canada. Have you ever in your life heard of anybody trying to sneak into Canada? No. Do they even have a border patrol in Canada? If so, that might be the most boring job ever. Nobody has ever tried to sneak into Canada other than somebody who's trying to evade the law in the United States. That is it. You know, Canadians talk about how terrible it must be to live in the United States. And, oh, look at all the violence down there. Look at the politics. Look how corrupt it is. But everybody's trying to come here. You go, Pete. Well, it just makes sense for the Latin American countries and for Mexicans to want to immigrate into the United States because it's closer in proximity. So they just come to the United States instead of Canada. Well, if Canada was so great, look, do you know how far of a walk it is from Central America to the United States? Thousands of miles. And you've got people on a daily basis willing to risk their entire life, their family's life, their kids' life. They've got to pay mules who may not even get them where they're trying to go. You know, they starve in the desert, they drown in the rivers. It's a terrible situation. It should not be taken lightly, and I'm not taking it lightly. But my point is, if America was so terrible and Canada was so great, don't you think they'd make another 1,000-mile trek once they got in the United States to get to Canada? But that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And the reason is because the opportunity in Canada is basically non-existent. I mean, first of all, what does Canada have to offer? Okay? If you live in a big city, here's what they have to offer. Terrible politics and excruciatingly high taxes that nobody could afford. And the other option, if you don't want to go live in a big city in Canada, is to move out to the country. Well, what's out in the country? I'll tell you what's out in the country. Grizzly bears, wolves. That's what's up there. Snow. That's all. The only thing that Canada is known for is maple syrup and hockey. And even the hockey part. They don't even have their own. Well, they might have their own league, but nobody cares about it. Again, another thing that they piggyback off of the United States. Hockey's not even our game. That's a Canada game, I mean, Canada is basically a European country in North America. That's all it really is. If you don't believe me, look at Quebec. You guys know about Quebec, right? You couldn't pay me to visit or live in Quebec. It's a French province up there. 75% of the population in the city of Quebec, or the province of Quebec, or whatever the hell they got going on up there, speaks French. Now this tells me all I need to know about that place. If you mixed the most boring and the most pompous group of people on the entire planet, it would be Quebecians. I don't even know if that's what you call them. Which brings me to my next point. I keep saying I don't know what they're called. I don't know if it's a province. I don't know if it's a territory. You know why? Because Americans don't know crap about Canada. And they don't want to either. Why would you? Canadians know everything about America. Everything. Here's a little test that I'm going to give you right now. Without Googling, how many of you and how many Americans in general do you think even know what the capital of Canada is? Huh? You don't, do you? Most of you don't. Shit. You want to know why? Because nobody cares. The only reason that people even know who runs that crap country is because he's always in the news for doing some dumb shit, isn't he? Justin Trudeau. Good God almighty. This is the best that you guys have to offer? The only thing worse than a leader of a country than Justin Trudeau is that walking and talking vegetable that we've got in the White House right now. God, they might be the two worst. Between the two of them, they've got an IQ of 12. I'm going to run that dump of a country into a bigger dump. What else we got here? Oh my God. Let's talk about some of the people. Let's talk about some of the famous Canadians. A really good example of this. I don't even know if you consider them famous. I guess they are because they have a TV show on the History Channel. Have you guys heard of the Oak Island brothers, the Oak Island boys? Because they're Oak Island boys and they're trying to find that treasure. God, these are the two biggest idiots in Canada. The best part about them, I bet a lot of you guys didn't know this, but through my research and development team, we did find out that both of these guys went to school in the United States of America. That's right, they're Canadians. One of them went to the University of Michigan. I don't know where the other one went. But you guys know who I'm talking about, right? What's these jabronis' names? I don't even know their names. I had to write them down. It's Marty and Rick Legina. I don't know if it was Legina or Legina, but you can use your imagination on that. The Oak Island boys. These two idiots have spent their entire adult life looking for a treasure on a tiny little island in Nova Scotia. This is what happens when you have too little brains and too much money. Now, one of these idiots, Marty, I think it is, Marty is worth $2 million. That's his net worth, according to the Google machine. $2 million. Do you know how he amassed this fortune, this Marty Legina guy? He was a retired U.S. postal worker. Now, first of all, that's news to me. I didn't know you could become a millionaire by being a postal worker in the United States. I guess I chose the wrong job. Well, clearly I did choose the wrong job. I'm talking to you on YouTube right now. That was shit. That was a bigger mistake than Marty made. Rick Legina, he is the finance of the operation. So he's worth, according to the Google machine, over $100 million net worth. I thought they were richer than that. For some reason, I thought these guys were billionaires. I thought you had to be a billionaire to be able to buy some island in Nova Scotia. But then I was thinking about it. They probably paid $27.36 for that crap little island because there's nothing on there. But anyway, he made his money. He amassed his fortune through what? That's right. You guessed it. An energy company. Natural gas. Natural gas. So the one brother's got the money, the other one's got the ambition to spend the brother's money. So these two Mensa students come up with an idea to buy this little tiny island. It's like a mile wide and half a mile long. It's a tiny little island. Like I said, they probably paid about $27 for that thing. Because they're convinced, through all of their research and development, that there is not only some sort of like massive treasure on this island, but hold on to your hats for this one, folks. These two jabronis believe that the Ark of the Covenant is buried on Oak Island. So what do? They spend their entire lives amassing enough money to buy this little crap hole island that nobody wanted other than them. And then they spend millions and millions of dollars and thousands of man hours digging holes all over this dumbass island looking for the Ark of the Covenant. And they've made about 12 seasons of this show on the History Channel that I can't even believe people watch this. I admit, I've seen it. That's the reason I know about it. But good God, I stopped watching after about 3 seasons when I realized you're not going to find nothing. And not only are they not going to find nothing, they haven't found nothing. The biggest find that these two idiots have found on that island is like a piece of petrified wood. They had a whole 4 episodes on how they dug down like 150 feet into this damn island. And what did they come up with? A couple of shreds of petrified wood. And they're going, oh my God, they're celebrating, popping champagne and shit. Oh, I'm like, shit, they actually found something. What'd you find? A piece of wood. This is the kind of idiots you got up there in Canada. What's next? Oh, we already talked a little bit about hockey. I'll get into hockey again in a minute. All the sports, right? Here's the ironic thing, and also the weird thing that I can't figure out about Canada. They're basically United States light, and that extends to sports. They love baseball, right? They're part of the MLB up there. Clearly they love hockey. I mean, it's Canada. They're part of the NHL. They love basketball, right? They have NBA teams, or a NBA team, or I don't even know. I know they got the Raptors. But all 3 of those sports is basically the exact same thing. Well, not basically, it is. It's the exact same game as the United States plays. Hell, it's in the same league. The exact same rules as the United States plays. And the best players in the world, right? The best players in the world go to Major League Baseball. And baseball, well, I guess that's debatable with Japan and that, but don't even get me started. That's a whole different video. But you get the point. The best basketball players in the world, per capita, go to the NBA. Same with hockey. Go to the NHL, right? But Canadian football, the CFL. First of all, this is at its core. The whole reason I started this YouTube channel was because I love the game of football, particularly college football, but also professional football, NFL. I mean, there's not an age that I can remember back to where I didn't love football, period. I don't think I've ever been able to sit through more than 10 or 15 minutes of a Canadian Football League game. And the only reason I even watched those 10 or 15 minutes in my entire life is because Johnny Manziel was playing, and I just wanted to see what a disaster it was going to be. But going back to them basically copying every sport from the States and adopting the States' way of doing it, for some reason, they took the most perfect game, the game of football, and decided to mess with it and put their little Canadian spin on it, and screw it up. First of all, instead of 4 downs, there's only 3 downs. What's the point of that? I have no idea. You'll have to ask a Canuck. But I don't know why they just thought, imagine you're in that meeting. Okay, let's start a Canadian Football League, eh? Okay, what's the first thing we're going to do? Hey, instead of 4 downs, eh, we'll do 3 downs, eh? Oh, that sounds like a good idea, Bob. Yeah, write that down. I don't even know how to do a Canadian accent. Because do they have one? What else? Oh, how about this? How about this? Instead of 11 players on the field, you know, in American football, which is the only football there is, I'm not talking about soccer. In American football, there's 11 players on the field for each team at each time. So if you have 12 players, you don't substitute in time, or maybe you just don't know how to count. It happens every once in a while. You get a flag, throw the flag. 12 players on the field. So-and-so penalty. All right. No, they've got 12 players on the field anyway. Now, for what reason? Again, I have no idea. They didn't think 11 was good enough. They thought 12 was better. I don't know. You know, it's kind of like Mike Vick. Shout out to Vick. 10 is good. 11 is better. And if you have 12 players on the field, that's just good business, eh? I have no idea why they do that. No idea. Oh, here's the other thing. Major League Baseball stadium in Canada. Same size, same shape as every other baseball field in the world. Basketball court. Same length, same width as every other basketball court in the world. Hockey rink. Same length, same width, same lines and shit as every other hockey rink in the world. But no, again, with the football again, the American football field just got not good enough for the Canucks, eh? Theirs is bigger. Why? I don't know. It's longer, it's wider. The end zones are like 25 yards deep for some reason. I guess they feel like it gives them a better chance to get a touchdown if the end zone's big. I have no idea why. But this is the out of all the things I've named so far, this is the stupidest change. Because now what they've done is you can't bring your product anywhere else. What they're doing, instead of building Americanized football stadiums in Canada, they're just using soccer stadiums. So in their mind, well, we've got a big field here. What are we going to do with it? Well, you know what we could do, Bob? We could just still make it a 100-yard field that's 52 yards wide, and we could just make it the copy of American football because that's what it is. And they go, oh, no. We've got all this green grass. Let's make it longer and wider. Well, for what? For what? Build a smaller stadium, because I guarantee you, how big are those soccer stadiums up there in Canada? And all over the world for that matter. Most of them, 100,000 seats or more. There isn't 100,000 people in Canada who give a shit about football, let alone going to go to a game. Soccer stadium. Good God Almighty. Let's talk about some of the other famous Canadians. Dave Coulier. You guys remember him? You guys remember Dave Coulier? The goofy comedian from Canada, which is, that's the description of every famous Canadian, right? Unless you're a singer or something. Here's what comes out of Canada. Hot chicks, I'll give them that. We'll talk about that in a second too. Comedians, and the comedians all have one thing in common. They all have one thing in common. They're like over-the-top goofy, right? Dave Coulier fits right in it. Jim Carrey, another one. Just goofy. But Dave Coulier, you remember him? He was on Full House. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, and I could be wrong about this, because my memory is pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. But if my memory serves me correctly, didn't Dave Coulier try to date Avril Lavigne when she was like 13 years old or something? Now Avril Lavigne is, a grown woman. She's like 30 something. And she's hot. But Dave Coulier thought she was hot a lot earlier than that, didn't he? Jesus Christ, Dave Coulier. Who else? Oh, Seth Rogen. Again, see? Look, you see a pattern here? Seth Rogen. Now, if you enjoy this type of humor, I guess I do to a certain degree. Laughing at a chubby pothead is funny for a while. After a while, it just gets to be sad, doesn't it? It's like, bro, you're like 45 years old now. Haven't you figured out anything other to do than weed jokes? Seth Rogen. I'll admit, he's been in some funny movies. But again, just another example, Dave Coulier, Jim Carrey, Seth Rogen, what do they all got in common? Just goofy. It's more like you're laughing at them than with them. And that's not what you want to do if you're a comedian. You want to be laughed with. Now, here's what I will say. So maybe in this rant, I'll throw a little compliment in there, okay? Throw a little compliment in there. At least that's where Pamela Anderson came from. I mean, that's Canada's greatest contribution to the United States of America. Pamela Anderson in Baywatch. That's it, man. Well, that and maple syrup. I'm not even sure maple syrup was invented in Canada. I just know they probably got a lot of maple trees. So, they get all the credit for it. But Pamela Anderson, that's your greatest contribution to the United States of America and frankly to the world, Canada. So thank you from the bottom of this male American heart. I would like to go ahead and say thank you for all of the years of visual stimuli and entertainment that we all received from one Canadian Pamela Anderson. Now, I didn't know if you knew this either. Going back, this ties into the Canadian football thing. The only great contribution that the Canadian Football League has ever given to the world, other than watching Johnny Manziel fall flat on his face for 3 downs instead of 4, is the fact that Pamela Anderson was discovered for Playboy at a Canadian football game. Yeah, she was sitting in the stands with her tight shirt on, and we all know what was going on there. And they put her up on the big jumbotron, and everyone starts clapping. Yay, hot chick! Well, somebody from California, somebody from Playboy, probably Hugh Hefner himself, I don't know. Rest in peace, Hugh. Somebody from the Playboy Mansion saw her at this football game, because I guess she went, whatever viral was before the internet, she went kind of viral about how hot she was. So they called her or found out who she was and contacted her and said, hey, come down to California, bro. We're going to put you in this magazine called Playboy. So that is interesting that they did that. Canadian, now this is an oxymoron. This is an oxymoron. Canadian bacon. The only thing that would make bacon Canadian is if the pig was from Canada. Right? That's like saying American bacon, or if there's a pig in South America. Oh, you want some South American bacon? No, bacon is bacon. It doesn't matter what country it comes from or what part of the world it comes from. How dare you, Canada? How dare you claim to have your own bacon? There's no such thing as Canadian bacon. I call it ham because that's what it is. And no, I'm going to put my foot down right now. If you're an American out there and you call it Canadian bacon, shame on you. Shame on you. It's ham. And also, shame on you if you call the pizza place and say, yeah, it doesn't matter even what pizza place it is. Whatever your favorite pizza place is that you call all the time. If you call a pizza place and you order, yeah, what would you like on it, sir? Yeah, can I get some Canadian bacon? Here's what I want you to do right now, or when you do this. I want you to remember, next time you call a pizza place, I want you to remember this right now. If you accidentally let the words or the phrase Canadian bacon slip out of your mouth, I want you to open up your hand, put it right here next to your face, and slap the crap out of yourself. And then correct yourself afterwards. Say, I'm so sorry, after you slap yourself. Say, I'm so sorry, sir or ma'am, or whatever you identify as today. I'm so sorry. What I meant to say was, I want ham on that pizza. Canadian bacon. But anyway, shout out to all my Canadian friends out there. Hey, I love you.